Welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. It is Thursday night, so you are here with us for Aftermath of Dynamite. It is me, ALW, and the Ruby Queen of Workhorse Wrestling Network, Miss Anika. How you doing tonight?
Greetings, greetings. I'm good. How about you?
Good, 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 good. Let's see. So we weren't here last week because I was sick. So I figured real quick we'll just kind of run through what happened on Title Tuesday.
Mhm.
Um, even though we talked about it a little bit at the cookout, and then
Yeah.
we'll start with Rampage from last Friday. Or
Okay.
then we'll go into Rampage from last Friday. So
Good.
starting with Title Tuesday last Tuesday, I guess first off we talked a little bit about it on Tuesday. We had a little question Tuesday Night Wars, and here's what I'm going to say because my internet was really bad that night, and I apologize. Hopefully, it holds up tonight. One battle doesn't really constitute a war, right? So like
Yeah.
just because you guys have one show each on a Tuesday night, like to call it a war is a little bit of a when you guys do it week after week after week after week, and then we're gonna see if somebody's actually comes out 6 months overall where who stands better than that, then to me that's more of a war. Right now, it seems like both of them are dipping their toes in the water to see if they can push the other a little bit to see what the other will do. And here's the thing, right? So I don't expect AEW, honestly, to be beating WWE at this point, right? We're talking about a company
Mhm.
that's been around in existence for 40 years on national TV, 60 years in the territories, compared to one that's been around for 5 years or 4.5 years. So
Mhm.
just the fact that they're even mentioned in the same breath, the fact that WWE even cares about what their ratings are, just tells you that they're being successful, right? So,
Yes.
um, and clearly they're a step above Impact, which has been around for a long time. But they've had so many ups and downs, and so many different iterations. They've been TNA and Impact and blah blah blah, and different owners, and shut down and come back. That it doesn't feel like that's yeah, they've been around for 20 years, but it doesn't feel like a very strong, solid 20 years, or 30
Yeah.
years. So, just the fact that after 4.5 or 5 years, 4 years, whatever it's been, almost 5 years now, I guess, just that they're even competing, that they're within 300 or 400,000 of WWE seems to me to be an amazing accomplishment. So, I mean, I don't, and it doesn't have to be a battle, right? Like that's the one thing I like about AEW, and that's one of the things when we talk about are we in a golden age of wrestling? If WWE would kick open their forbidden door, we would be in a
Mhm.
super golden age of wrestling. The fact that we're
Oh.
getting, shows like Wrestle Dream or Forbidden Door, where you're getting companies, these dream matches that you thought you'd never get. The only thing we're missing are the dream WWE competitors, right? So,
Mhm.
like, if they did that and we have a three-way crossover, New Japan, AEW, and WWE crossover, where you get a Seth Rollins versus a Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada or whoever you want to put in the ring, right? And
Mhm.
so, I mean, that would be the ultimate. But short of that, I'm happy for all of this. I don't, I wish WWE would come to the table with a more willingness to want to work together. Which maybe now that Vince is out and Endeavor's taken over, they will.
Yeah.
That's my secret hope. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I can't imagine that Endeavor doesn't see some of the success that AEW's having with merging, not merging, but by working with these other companies, and that they wouldn't want to get in on that action at some point. So I don't know, but that's my little soapbox about kind of just AEW, the war, that kind of stuff, and WWE.
No, no, no. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think, to call it a war again, that's a bit over dramatic, but for me, it was fun, right? For me, it was fun. If you want to equate it to the 90s Attitude Era War, right? I think that was more crucial because Ted Turner literally said, I want to put Vince out of business. So that's why
Right.
it was more hardcore. Nowadays, I don't believe we're going to say Triple H, not Vince. Triple H has a mindset of we have to put them out of business, which is very great, right? So I'm like, if you want to do this once a month, yeah, let's go. Now,
Yeah.
I will say, like you said, I don't expect WWE to be AEW. What just went to my mind was an equivalent of when Top Flight beat Claudio and Will Yuta in the Battle Royal, and then they called they called Moxley and Danielson and they whipped and they whipped their tails on Rampage. I feel like that would happen in this Tuesday Night War, where like AEW got too close, so WE called Big Brother Taker and Cena to squat to to put into this. Hey, everyone, calm down. But again, it was so much fun. It was
Yeah,
so much fun.
and it is fun. I mean, as a fan, it's they say competition spurs innovation, right? So like the more competition you have in theory, the more people have to step their game up. So,
Mm-hmm.
I do think that there is something to be said for that, and I like it. I mean, I don't necessarily like the tribalism of it, and I don't necessarily like having to
Yeah.
maybe pick a side or whatever, which I'm never gonna do. Um, but I think it's all wrestling, and I'm just a wrestling fan. So, but it does make it a little funner. I mean, it does. When they're going head up, when you see that WWE wants to make sure that both that their third brand does something well and that they do something, that
Right?
they have this kind of because they bring these big dogs in on NXT, like
Yeah.
so it's that they're trying to push it and they want to beat AEW for sure. So you know, it's fun. It does make it funner.
Yeah.
Um, so, Title Tuesday, the kickoff or the buy-in show, I guess they called it a buy-in, which they always do, was Eddie Kingston defending his Ring of Honor World Title and his New Japan Strong Openweight Title against Minoru Suzuki, which Eddie got the win. This
Hmm.
is, I mean, this is one of those dream matches for me, right? I like both these guys very much. They're at the top of
Yeah.
my favorites list. So getting to see these guys together. And it's exactly what I wanted it to be. I mean, it doesn't need to be much longer than that. 10 minutes is
Hmm.
fine. Um, they got their chops in, which is the most important thing, right? Because that's what you come to see Suzuki do is see how hard he can chop somebody. And they got their finishers in, and Eddie got the win as you should.
When in doubt, call Murder Grandpa. Always.
Always. Yep, yep. All right. Then we had Danielson versus Swerve, and
Mhm.
Danielson got the win. Which, when Danielson got the win, I kind of I didn't feel quite so bad for Ricky anymore because now it's not, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
everybody loses to Danielson, which we already knew
Yes.
anyhow. But it's like,
Yes.
okay. So in my mind, I guess Ricky and Swerve are right on about the same level, right? And Danielson's just
Almost.
a hair above them.
Yeah.
So Danielson should be beating both of them. If he's the greatest of all time, in theory, he should be beating both of them. This was a solid match. I don't know if I liked it any better or worse than the two matches that Ricky had with them, if we're trying to compare them. I mean, in and of
Hmm.
itself, it's a whole different situation because Swerve's not Ricky Starks, right? But
Right.
um, solid match. I thought Swerve looked good. I thought Swerve looked good in defeat. And I thought it went the way it probably should.
No, definitely. y- My favorite moment was like Swerve trying not to smile because you could tell this is a dream match for him, right? And again, Tuesday Night War, it kind of sucked because it's like you're competing, and this match shouldn't be competing with anything. It's like I would have loved if this was like main event or I would love for me to pay total attention that Tuesday on this match and not have my focus somewhere else because this is a prime time match and they did a great job. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, then we had Powerhouse Hobbs squash Chris
Yeah,
Jericho. I mean that was
yeah,
a squash. I mean I don't think I've ever
yeah.
seen Chris Jericho get beat like that. So and I
It
mean,
was
it is
fun.
what it is. Hobbs is what 25 and Jericho's 55, and
Yeah.
Hobbs is extremely strong, and Jericho's, not that he's not strong and not that he's not in good shape, but he's for all intents and purposes kind of an old man at this point, right?
Hmm.
So like you get caught in Hobbs's power, you're going to be in big trouble if you're someone like Chris Jericho. I thought it came off really well for Hobbs.
Yeah.
And I don't think it really hurt Chris Jericho because Hobbs is three times his size and caught him on a bad night and caught him, with the move that, and then hit him with more moves that were just rendered him, unable to do anything. So I
Hmm.
liked it. I think it pushes Hobbs over the top. I enjoyed it.
Definitely what Hobbs need, and I love the explanation of this week of how it went down. Where like when I was a kid, my grandma got me tickets, and you just told her. like I'm gonna shut up. You didn't handshake. Like, yes, fuel the energy, fuel that hatred.
Fuel that
Yes,
hatred. Come to the dark side.
yes. And like I said, I'm still up on if Hobbs fits with Don better than like if this is gonna be a perfect fit. As of right now, things are looking up. I approve.
I approve. All right.
Mhm.
Then we had Orange Cassidy versus Ray Phoenix for the International Championship. And because Ray Phoenix is hurt, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy got the win here. And we'll talk about it maybe a little later. And he talks about it again, how he was missing the title, how he needed the title back, and how this time he took it for granted. Orange Cassidy, the first time. I think it might have been on last night's Dynamite or it was on Collision or something. Um, but so, it is what it is. I'm not a big Orange Cassidy fan. I mean, he's growing on me. I like him more today
Hmm.
than I did 2 years ago. But, I don't, he's a really good wrestler. I still don't really like the shtick. And I'm not a big fan of just putting the belts back on guys, but I, I guess I get it here. Ray's hurt, and Orange
Yeah.
Cassidy is probably the best international champion we've had so far. Um, so I guess it is what it is. I mean, I'd rather see somebody else, but I don't know.
Yeah. Only thing was crazy was not like you booked the match to be Ray versus Moxley, right? It is, I believe, up in the air if Moxley was cleared or when they found out he wasn't, which is kind of crazy. Just
Mm-hmm.
book this match and you're not 100% sure he can do the match. But hopefully this leads to a storyline with OC, right? When he won it, he was looking real deep into the belt's ass. I'm like, okay, that that don't seem like the fun loving OC we usually are used to. So I would love for him to do a little story about,
He should take the belt on a date,
don't
take it
no
to
no no.
dinner, wine it and dine it.
I didn't go to see. You went romantic. I was thinking more obsessive.
Obsessive. Yeah,
Obsessive. Yeah.
I can
Like
see that. I can definitely see that.
don't let this belt change you. I still love you as doing what you need to do and not always saving your energy for when you need it. That's what I call it.
Then we had, which not the return. I think this was his second appearance back, but Wardlow, right? This wasn't his first time back. He came back on the week before, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, here he squashed Matt Sydal. I mean, he
Hmm.
came in. I think it was 3 or 4 power bombs and left through the crowd. So again, weird because Matt Sydal's such a really good wrestler.
Right?
At the same time, like Wardlow's twice his size, and it's the same kind of
Hmm.
issue as I have with, or the same kind of thing I had with Hobbs and Jericho. Matt Sydal's close to 50, and Wardlow's 25, and he got caught in Wardlow's power and took a bunch of power bombs and can't get up. I mean, it is what it is, right? So
Yeah.
big
I
tough guys like that are supposed to be able to do that to smaller guys when they get them over and over and over again. When you take 5 power bombs, Matt Sydal shouldn't get up. I mean, that's so.
most definitely I was kind of surprised because like in my mind Matt Sydal shouldn't be getting squashed,
I
right?
agree. No, I agree.
But I am not opposed to this. And again, we're gonna when we fast track. I love the story they have for him, which is ultimately he's trying to get back to MJF either through revenge or for the belt. Again, I right now it's a good story. It's on the right tracks. We'll see if it keeps momentum going.
Yeah, yeah. No, like we'll talk about it later. Yeah, I mean Wardlow's definitely looking for for MJF. So I'm kind of interested
Mhm.
to see that. I'm not a big
Right?
Wardlow fan, but I'm here to see how they do that. Um,
The story's worth
so
it.
then we had Jay White defeat Hangman Page, which
Mm.
I don't have a problem with that at all. He's now lost to Swerve and Jay White. My question
Mhm.
is, what are we doing with Hangman Page? Like he's been down for it feels like for a long time, right? Like
Yeah.
when the company first started, he was very up, and then he got to kind of like a plateau, and now he's been kind of on a slow. He's very cold, and then it felt like they were warming him up again, but he lost to Swerve, which no one was mad about. I'm glad
Right.
Swerve won, But
Yes.
now he loses to Jay White, and it's like, well, he's supposed to be one of kind of your big stars. What's he, why is he just taking L's? So, but again,
Right.
Jay White is one of your big stars too. So I guess at some point, if these two are going to wrestle, you have to make a decision, right? And right now,
Yeah.
Jay White and the Bang Bang Gang Bullet Club Gold is definitely hot. So, and they want to hype this Jay White versus MJF, right? So a big win here versus Adam or versus Hangman Page definitely raises Jay White stock for people that aren't overly familiar with them, because people love Page and he's a big deal. So, yeah, I mean it's interesting. I'll put it that way. It's interesting.
So so basically, the Swerve versus Heyman feud is going longer than I guess we anticipated, or not really. Cause like we thought it was going to go 2 and 3, right? But when you have these matches against Jay White and Swerve with Danielson, you think, okay, we're going to put a pause in it. But I guess, all right, we're not putting a pause. We're just gonna do one. We're gonna. They're both gonna be here for a minute, and then we'll go to the next phase of life. And then saying that Prince Nana was the reason why Heyman lost, so that kind of cushions the blow. And so, not gonna say hit it and quit it, but I don't prefer that this feud lasts longer than it needs to last. Like I'll be all for let's end this at Full Gear, even though it's gonna be probably 1-1. At least at Full Gear, whoever wins put a pin in it, and then next time let them go their separate ways. And then if you want to revisit this next year, which is only a couple of months from now, sure. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. That makes sense. Let's see. Then we got something you must have been very happy about. Sheeta defeated Sriracha
Sriracha.
to re-win or to regain the AEW Women's Championship. This is her third time now as Women's
Hmm.
Champion. Um, that's the most, right? She's the first one to become
Yes.
three-time. So, as far as AEW goes, she's the best women's wrestler to date. I guess in AEW history,
Yeah.
if you want to by title reigns. Um, this was weird to me. Like, I don't have a problem with Sheeta winning. I guess I just don't understand why Saraya ever had the belt in the first place if you weren't going to actually
It
give her a chance to actually be champion. And maybe it's because she can't really do it and she wasn't being honest before. Maybe it's something they discovered recently, or I don't know what it is. But if you're going to put the belt on her, then give her a run. If you're not, then don't. Like, it's I don't know. It's weird. The whole thing
This
is
is
odd.
a
But
prime example of TK not putting enough mental capacity in putting a storyline for the women. Because when Wembley happened, it she literally just won because okay, we're in England, a British lady has to win the belt. That's lit. I bet you $5 that was a 5 minute conversation into who should win that match, and there is no freaking thought into the follow through, which is what
yeah,
really pissed most of us off. Because it's like, okay, she's champ. Do we really see
now
her
what?
having this belt longer for time? And I am happy because my fear was they're going to make this last as long as needed to get Sriracha versus Monet. And I did not want that to happen, but I was very scared of that. So in that effort, yes, I'm happy that Sheeta won. Now it's like again, can we please have a storyline? Can we please have a proper title defense? Because she's a star. If you just put a nice story in front of it, she's a star. We're gonna talk about her versus Emmy later, but it's not that hard. I already have an idea that pay me $500, TK. You can have it and just put it on freaking paper. But again, that's for next week, which is this week, which is yesterday.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that, and it'll be interesting to see how much wrestling Soraya does, or Sriracha, from this point forth. I mean, I'm wondering if one of the reasons they took the belt off her is because it's just not working out as far as physically, whatever. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I don't
Yeah.
dislike her as much as everybody else seems to, at least not here at Workhorse, but you know, I definitely like Sheeta as champ better.
It,
Um,
like not saying we don't like her. Okay, that I don't like her, but like she wasn't supposed to be champion. She ain't won a singles match in how long? And all of a sudden, it's like don't do that. Don't do
yeah,
that.
no, I agree. And then the main event of Title Tuesday was uh, Adam Copeland's first match in the AEW
Mhm.
ring, and he beat Luchasaurus to further
Mhm.
this Christian Cage story. In a solid match. I mean, I thought they
Yeah.
both, you know, looked good. I mean, Edge is Adam Copeland is old at this point. Um, so it is what it is. He still moves pretty good for an older guy. I still enjoy watching him wrestle. I was always just kind of. I mean, I liked Edge. I was an Edge and Christian fan when they were together. I've
Mhm.
always been more of a Christian fan than an Edge fan. Um, but I'm here for it. I'm here to see. I'm interested in what Edge and Christian end up doing here. I'm assuming they're going to end up with a feud. Well, they're having a feud. Clearly, they're going to have a feud, even
Yeah.
though Edge says, and we'll talk about it a little later. He says he's not going to fight him. He will. They
Right.
will. They'll end up fighting. It wouldn't surprise me if some way, shape, or form Adam takes that belt from Christian. Just to fuel the fire more to lead it to some sort of a second or third match where it's even more intense, and then they'll make up. And at some point, I'm assuming we're going to have one more Edge and Christian tag team run. We've got to. You can't be in the same company, still be best friends in
Yeah.
real life, and not want to do that one more time. So
Yeah.
at least you can't deny us fans of that one more time. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm hoping for. Here, Luchasaurus, I like Luchasaurus a lot. I like him a lot. I think he's supremely talented. I think he
Yeah.
continues to be overshadowed by whoever he's with, and
Mhm.
I'm not totally sure. He doesn't talk much, and maybe he's not a very good talker, and maybe that's part of why they keep putting him with people.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to see him just on his own, doing his own thing. I mean, I don't. I like him. I think he could do more. Um, but here he lost to Adam as he should. It's Edge's first match in AEW. Knew Edge was going to win. So yeah,
Yeah. And so, talking about the Christian and Edge thing, I think the not the conflict, but heel Christian right now is definitely killing it. So
yes,
definitely don't have to do the meetup right now. Like I know Edge said Adam, sorry, Adam says that this is going to be the last leg of his career, but we don't know if that's 6 months from now or even 2 years from now, right? So in my mind, let's say 2 years. We can definitely slow burn this for 6 months to a year, and then you can reunite them, and it'll be a great time. So I am not opposed to the slow burn right now.
yeah. So that was basically the end of Title Tuesday. What did you think of Title
Yeah.
Tuesday overall as a show?
Yeah, like rewatching it without competing with with NXT in my mind, it was a great show. It was very good. Um, the ending was crazy, but I did very WCW-ish, but I loved it. Like the
Yep.
ending where you have Danielson and behind Christian
Right.
Cage in a label log. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, collision, let's go, great,
Yeah. Hyping collision.
right?
Hyping the collision match. Yeah. As they should do. Right. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
goal. So.
Very. I, one little tidbit was I know people were saying, and everybody's right, right? Them winning, them being WWE is very, short of not we all thought it was going to happen, but I was very surprised they didn't have any of the elite on the show. I'm like, no Kenny Omega, no Hangman. I mean, no, no, no. Well, besides Hangman, no Young
Right.
Bucks. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, not saying how much of a needle mover it would have been, but it'd been nice to see if that would have made a difference. But I don't know. It was a great show, definitely.
Yeah. No, I agree. Do you think, and they're not going to do it, but do you think they should consider moving to Tuesday permanently?
No, because like it happened because either baseball was on
Right. I
or
think it's baseball. It's
right,
it's the playoffs, right? So,
right, and
but I'm
so
just
and
asking, since they did it,
AW, I don't. Yeah, no,
they should stay on Wednesday where they're in their kind of own hole, right? I mean,
yeah,
they don't have anything directly competing against them on
right.
Wednesday night as far as wrestling goes. So,
Cause like I
um,
love the Young Bucks when they're like, we just wanted an alternative. We're not trying to beat nobody. We're not trying to override anything. But for
right,
the people, the wrestlers who need another place to go for a job, for wrestling fans who don't like the glitz and glamour of WWE. We're just trying to give them an alternative. And so it's
Yeah.
like, let's not. We don't want that. We don't want them problems. We don't need them problems. No.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to Dynamite from last Friday, the 13th. It
Mhm.
was Friday the 13th. Um,
Tick.
the first match. Oh, go ahead. What were you say?
Oh no, you said Friday the 13th. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I didn't even recognize
yep.
realize that.
Our first match was um, with the JAS without the not so JAS, I think is what commentary called them.
Not
But
Jaws.
basically, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Daniel Garcia, who was with Jake Hager. Jake Hager didn't actually wrestle, versus. They still call him the Hardy Boys on the internet, but the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy. Um, this is. I mean, I don't. I want them to figure out what they're doing with the JAS members now that Jericho's not involved. I like 2.0 and I like Daniel Garcia. I don't really care about Jake Hager one way or the other, but I want to see 2.0 just a valid tag team in the tag team division. I'd love to see Daniel Garcia competing for some title, either Ring of Honor or AEW somewhere. I think him against Orange Cassidy could be fun. Um,
Hmm.
I don't, or competing for the TNT title, him against Christian could be fun if they do it the right way. I mean, I know both their cards are kind of booked with other stuff they're doing, but I just think Garcia is better than just kind of being a sideshow with these guys. Um, they got the win over, or no, I'm sorry, yeah, they got the win over the Hardy Boys or the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy. I wish there was more for Isaiah Cassidy. I want to know when Mark Quinn's coming back and we get Private Party back and what they're going to do when they're back.
Right?
And
Yeah.
as much as I like Matt and Jeff, I'm kind of tired of watching them now. They could go away and retire, and I'd be okay with it at this point.
So like, so I like the not Jaws. I do kind of like this story. I like where it's going. Right, we're basically trying to find themselves out Jericho, and
Right.
hope. The only thing is like I think the necessity of this story is they have to win matches. Right, they can't just lose, or even if they lose, there has to be a solid reasoning behind it. Right. Hardy Boys. Not gonna say I don't. I'm not. What you call it? I'm tired of looking at them, but I think they need some kind of direction, right? They can't just
Yeah.
like feel like they're just there. And for the Hardy Boys, that is no. Put some more stakes in them. Even if you like let them go away and come back, or give back the broken Hardy thing. Like yeah, they're worth time on television. I just think they just need more a better direction. Don't know what that direction is. I'm not saying it's. I am not saying it's the titles, but yeah, do
Right.
something with them a little more meaningful.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess maybe I'd feel different if they were actually had some direction in the storyline. I guess it feels like they're just
Yeah,
kind of floating around. And we're just going to float around. Then I just assume, give that time to younger guys that need it at this point. But it is what it is.
yeah.
Let's see. Then we got Jay Lethal versus Trent Beretta or Trent. I guess he's no longer Trent Beretta. But
Boo.
you know, I Jay Lethal got the win here. Um, Jay's a really good wrestler. So is Trent. This match
Hmm.
showed that both of them are really good. I enjoyed this a lot. Um, there isn't a whole lot to say about it. I don't like Jay Lethal with any of these other guys. I'm okay with him with Sanjay Dutt, who I
Yeah,
like, but I don't like him with Jeff Jarrett. I don't like him with Satnam Singh. I wish he would get away from all of those guys and do his own thing. Um, and Trent, I'm not a big fan of Best Friends, but I'm a big fan of Trent. So
boo.
I enjoyed this match, but it just okay,
Yeah. No. This was a great solid match. This is more so to hype up Jay Lethal to face Eddie Kingston, and I'm hoping during this feud we're gonna get old school Jay Lethal back, because even though Team Slapnuts have been entertaining, for Jay Lethal, I feel like he can do more, right? And I do love the idea of him going back to ROH and being the old Jay Lethal that we all know and love. So I'm hoping that that's the story, and I'm hoping they run with it, because that is a great. I think everyone's ready for that, especially for Jay Lethal.
I agree. I was so excited when he came to AEW, and since then it's been like he hasn't. It's just been very disappointing for me since he's come to since his run so far in AEW. But
It should be
then we got
more.
Sky Blue.
Hmm.
Get what was an interesting win over Emi Sakura. I was very surprised here. I mean, I it seems like sometimes from show to show, Tony doesn't know who he wants to push. Right? It's
Yeah.
like Emmy gets a couple wins and he wants to push her, puts her on Dynamite or on Collision or Rampage to have a match, and then all of a sudden the next week she's getting beat by Sky Blue, who's had a couple wins. And I get it. Not everyone can win all the time, but it's weird booking to me. I guess I don't really understand it, but
So, like you said, I do think, as of right now, yes, push Sky Blue because she's doing better. I got plans for Emmy. We'll discuss it later, but I got plans for Emmy. And when you hear them, TK, pay me and do it.
and then the main event of last week's Rampage was the Blackpool Combat Club versus Gates of Agony, Wheeler Yuta and Claudio versus Khan and what's the other guy's name? I can't think of the other guy's name at the moment. But
Mm,
um, oh, Toa Leona, it's on the screen there. Duh.
mm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, you know, Gates of Agony, I think, are a little underrated. Um, I think they're really good. I really enjoy them. Um, obviously, I knew that Claudio and Wheeler were probably getting the win here. Blackpool pretty much gets the win all the time.
Yeah,
But they usually take a little bit of a beating, and I thought Gates of Agony looked okay here. I like everyone that's with Prince Nana at this point, for
yeah,
the most part. He's always fun. And, Wheeler's getting better, and Claudio's Claudio. What can you say?
no. Uh, I love Mogul Embassy. I
Yeah,
do love that. I just, again, like you said, they need wins because how the Gates of Agony look like that team. And
yeah,
that's why I was on the fence when the Hung Bucks, your young Hangman, the Young Bucks beat them for the ROH Triple Championship. I'm like, yeah, because I did love Gates and Agony and Brian Cage being the champs, but okay, if you do right by the belts, I guess. But yeah, definitely give them more wins because they are a great group.
yeah. I mean, I understand. You want to bring more eyes to Ring of Honor. You want to give it more prestige, and at the same time, it feels anyone that pays attention knows that they're not really Ring of Honor guys. That they're only there to kind of raise that for the moment, and
Mm,
that you know it. It feels like a step down for them, honestly, to a certain extent, and it takes away the opportunity from the Mogul Embassy or other six man Dalton and the Boys, or whoever you want to bring up from Ring of Honor that's a six-man tag team, or six-man or trio. It's holding them down from potentially winning a title. So I get it from a business standpoint, wanting to raise the profile of Ring of Honor. I don't necessarily like it from a booking standpoint.
like so, as everyone in Dynamite, I do think that the Young Bucks and Heyman will go there and do the belts justice, unlike MJF, who will probably never, ever go there to defend the tag titles. So that's a plus. And like I said, whoever they drop it to, again, just make it mean something. That's
Yeah.
all.
So that was the main event of Rampage from last week. And so that
Yes.
brings us to Collision from last
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night, the 14th of October.
Yes,
And it
sir.
started with a title match. Hold on, wait a second. What happened here? I lost the. Hold on.
It's on the
Work
T.
for me.
Oh, it
It
was on
started with
both
Juice
on TV.
Robinson, right? It was.
Oh,
It started with Juice Robinson,
this
right? Uh,
tell me, cause I no. It actually started with a promo battle. It was
yes, it did.
yeah.
Christian
That's
and,
what it
and,
started off.
and Edge and Christian.
Yep. And then
uh,
Brian got into it, and yeah, Ricky Starks got in it,
Yep,
and like
yep.
he
Everyone
was
getting big. Yep, Ricky Starks and Big Bill came down, and
yeah.
everyone is picking sides. Um, and yeah, I mean it was a big melee. FTR came down. Um,
So how
so
did you
yeah, I
like
mean
it?
it was fun. I mean it was fun.
Right?
Um, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I guess maybe we're trying to build up towards the next, Stadium Stampede, Anarchy in the Arena, War Games, whatever team gang faction fight here. I suppose is ultimately what maybe we're working on here. I don't totally know, but or maybe we're just further reiterating who's faces and who's heels. I guess I'm not totally sure, solidifying that or just who's friends with who. But it's
Well,
fun nonetheless. I mean, I'm not sure what it all means, but
yeah. For me, it was like the verbal. It was like the verbal version of the ending of Dynamite, right? And more so, I act because people were like, "Well, they're too much. They're talking too much over each other." I'm like, I really didn't have an issue with that. I actually thought the trying to fill each other out was not like organic, and it was fun. I don't think, yeah, I didn't think it was. I heard people were, like didn't like it. I'm like, why didn't everything don't have to be proper and you say something and I say something, then you say something and I say something. No, you can talk. I don't like you. Why would I wait to listen to what the frick you got to say?
yeah, no, I agree. I always, I mean, you have to because you want everyone to have their chance to say something. But I often think to myself that would never go down like that in real life, where people just sit there and wait. Well, you talk for 10 minutes and how about what an asshole I am, or what a piece of shit I am. No, it's not gonna
Right?
happen. Like the first foul thing out of your mouth, we're fighting. Like it's you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Um, so then we had, which was, I thought was kind of interesting. I just want to mention it for a second. As
Yep.
being Jewish, MJF had this
Mm,
package where he was taking part in the stand up to Jewish hate, where he's working with them to work on that. And
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of hatred towards all races, right? In general, um,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, right? And anti-Semitism is just another form of racism. As a Jew, obviously, it affects me more personally than it does you. But
Yeah.
racism against Black people affects you in a different way than it does me.
Yeah.
So, it's all relative to who you are and how it affects you. Um, Me personally, like I was never really teased or bullied that way, especially not for being Jewish. Like that was not something
Okay.
I really endured. Now, don't get me wrong. In my life, I've heard plenty of bad Jew jokes. I've
Sure.
heard people that don't even know what it means say, "Oh, I got Jewed down," and not even realizing what they're saying, like the context. They just say it and they don't realize what it actually means.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of that. And I believe me, I'm well aware of the anti-Semitism out there. Um, and so it's not just. I think it's one of those things where you get to see that he's not just using it as fodder for promos. It's actually
Yeah.
something he believes in as a person, and as a fellow Jewish person, I appreciate that. We don't have a whole lot of us that stand on soapboxes and really take a stand. There's a lot of us out there, but they just don't take a stand a lot of times, and that's a lot of minorities don't either because of course you're a minority and so you're concerned all the time about your safety or whatever, all those things. But um, I just think it's great that he takes a stand against it.
No. And it's like for the people who are up in arms, like, oh God, it went too far. It's his story. Who am I to say you can't tell your story on television, right?
Right.
And like I said, if it again, if it's his story, I trust that he's going to do it justice. It is going to be nicely done. So so again, I leave it up to him, and I leave it alone.
Yeah. So enough of that. That was a little too. Let's see. We had Samoa Joe defend his world television title against Willie Mack
It's
in a really
Willie
good
Miss
match.
Black and Blue.
Samoa Joe won with the Muscle Buster, as he usually
Yes.
does. I like Willie Mack. I kind of they had gotten maybe a few more minutes here, and Willie could show it a little bit more. But a lot of people don't necessarily know Willie Mack, and so Samoa Joe is definitely should be winning here and should be probably winning fairly, convincingly, which
Yeah.
he did.
I think he got a fair amount of time for, like you said, for people who didn't know who he was, and
Yeah,
very decent match. And it's just like, okay, meat division. When is it? People still like it when we doing this, TK. When we doing this.
Let's see. Then we had CJ Perry backstage and Action
Mm-hmm.
Andretti come and say, "I'd love to be on your team," and she says, "We'll
Yeah.
talk." What do you think about
Yeah.
that? What do you think about Lana, CJ Perry recruiting people?
She's doing what she is great at, which is being a manager, right? So I'm hope, and I do love this story, and I hope they do. I hope it goes where I think it's gonna go. 'Cause I think that's I think it's a good story as well. And
Uh huh.
so, yeah, why not have some more storylines? This is a great way to implement more storylines on Collision.
I agree. I agree. Then we had Juice versus Christopher Daniels, which was
Mm-hmm.
a good match. I mean, Juice Robinson's a
Mm-hmm.
good wrestler. Christopher Daniels is a legend. Um, I it wasn't. It's more about Juice getting the win here over someone who's got a name to give him a little bit more of a push, and
Yeah.
ultimately for Jay White to give him his own diamond ring so that he can knock people out in anticipation of winning the diamond ring battle royal that we'll talk about on Dynamite from last night.
Yes.
Um, and so Juice, puts it on and has the right hand, left hand, right hand of God, one or the other, and so that's who he's going to use to knock people out. Again, I'm here for it. Juice is gonna take the ring and pawn it when he beats MJF for it, which I thought was kind of funny.
That
Um,
was hilarious.
I like Juice Robinson. I'm here for the Bullet Club. Gold. Anything you want to say?
So yeah, me too. Again, the match did what it need to do, which is bump up Juice Robinson. I love the Bang Bang Gang, and so yeah, can't wait for. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, can't wait for how all this is going to unfold.
Dustin Rhodes is announced as one of the next for the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal for the ring. So we haven't seen Dustin in a while, so I was happy to hear that he's going to be in that match. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we can talk about the match. Then we had Nick Wayne backstage with his mom and Jim Ross, which was kind of interesting. I like Nick Wayne. He clearly needs a little more time on camera.
Yeah.
I thought he came off a little over dramatic.
Now, that was actually on Dynamite. They actually just announced it on Collision.
Oh, okay, okay, my bad.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
okay, so I guess I'll hold my mouth then. I apologize.
yeah. No, you're
They
good.
announced they were gonna have an interview. That's right. I read this wrong. They're gonna have an interview on this week's Dynamite. It happened last night, so
Yeah,
we'll talk about it when we get there. Kyle Fletcher defeated Boulder.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this. I mean, Kyle Fletcher wants to show that he's a good wrestler. Remarks out he loves his brother, but he wants to show he's a good wrestler, and so he wins a singles match, and he should. I mean, he's a good singles wrestler. So,
It did what it was
uh,
supposed to do, and I love that they're giving him a shot at his partner's getting is recovering. So yeah, does not hurt to give him some wins.
yeah. Then we had the Acclaim backstage. Matt Caster's obsessing over MJF. Um,
It's hilarious.
uh, you're right. Renee, or he asked Renee about oral sessions, and she yells at him and storms off. The whole thing is weird. Um,
It's like they're
Jake, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, and Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Luke, they want to challenge the Acclaim for a trios title this week on Collision. This Saturday on Collision.
I would
So,
have loved if this got
I mean, the Acclaimed are
one
funny.
more. Yeah, would have loved this got this one more we could push because that's gonna be a good match.
The Acclaimed are funny, and this is funny. I liked it for what it is. And I think the
Yeah,
match will be good. Depending on, I'm
this is
assuming
a
it's going to
nice way
be
to.
2.0
This is a
and
nice
Daniel
way.
Garcia.
Mm-hmm. It should be. Yeah, and this is a nice way to reheat up
Yeah,
Acclaim. Not saying that they got cold, but it's like they got a little stale. So yeah, this is a great way to reheat them
yeah,
up.
yeah, I can see that. Then we had Chris Statlander defeat Sky Blue to retain the title. I'm assuming that this is why Sky Blue got the win over Emi Sakura, was so that she looked like maybe more of a competitor for Chris in
Yeah.
this match. I
Yep.
thought it was okay. Apparently, these two are really good friends. So at the end, they hugged and we're all friendly too. So,
Oh no, no, they didn't.
you, huh?
They did it. They didn't hug. So it was great
Oh,
match. The ending was
oh,
uh
that's right. That's
yeah.
right. She leaves and gets. That's right. Tells Statlander that she can leave her, and got all huffy and stormed away. I remember now. That's right.
Yeah, Willow actually helped, and the two, yeah, the two mystic tricks got, I
Yeah.
guess,
Willow came out
bonded
right.
over
Yep.
being
Yep. Yep.
almost blinded.
That's right. I this is now. I mean, we could talk about Jade's run with this belt. At times it was good. At times it was slow.
Hmm.
This is now Chris Statlander's run with the belt, and I don't think it's been overly impressive either. Like I don't. I mean, they need to do. They don't have enough of a women's division at this point to sustain both belts. I think that's part of the problem.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with two belts if you have enough women that are viable, competitors to actually hold up those belts. As far as I'm concerned,
yeah,
Chris Statlander, everyone that's competing for the TBS title belt should be competing for the AEW Women's title. In theory.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's a little weird to me. I'm not sure. I haven't been very impressed with Chris's run either.
Like, it definitely shouldn't be two divisions. Everybody should be mixing up with everybody, and that's what that's what everybody. Well, that was mostly my problem with Jade's booking, is that they try to keep her in this bubble, and you shouldn't do that. And we in her last match with Statlander proved that she could have these good, decent matches that were 10 minutes, that go over 10 minutes. Now with Statlander, they've been decent matches. They've like left her versus Julia. This was actually pretty good. It's actually like a couple of near falls that were what you call it,
Close.
believable,
Believable.
more so
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
believable, right? And so, like you said, like right now, and I think we're building to it maybe of a storyline. And I know it's like, hey, I know this is AEW, the land of we. If we just want to fight each other, we can do that, and it'll be a great time. But if to get people invested in stars you're not really fans of, or stars that you don't know, that's why a good storyline is essential and come in handy. That's why I'm a very key component of having storylines for people. So like I said, at the end of it, Sky Blue and Jake and Willow bonded over being misted, and maybe
Right.
that can go into play. That could be Statlander's actual program instead of just beating people randomly.
Yeah.
And that'd be fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely need to do something with the women's division to give them more what feels like direction. You know,
Yes, direction. Yes.
storyline and direction. Absolutely. Then Kyle Fletcher calls out Kenny Omega for a match on Dynamite, which we'll talk about when we talk about Dynamite from last night.
Hmm.
And then we had Roosh and LFI. Sounds like they're coming back, or they're coming.
Finally,
They're going to warm them up again. They had a big promo, so there's
finally, yes.
finally right. I'm assuming it's because they're all finally healthy for the first time in a little while. That's my guess.
Either
But
healthy
Roosh says,
be
"You mess
the
with the bull, you get the horn."
get the horns.
We'll say that again.
You get the horns.
You get the horn. Yeah, I mean, I like LFI, so I'm here for that. Um, we'll have to see. Hopefully, they actually do something this time a little bit more.
Yeah, but
Um, I wouldn't
they
mind
really look
seeing.
like a good group.
I wouldn't mind seeing them with the trios titles. Um,
Yes,
that could be fun. Um, but then we got Keith Lee, who defeated Turbo Floyd, which
yes.
I'm very happy because Keith Lee. I love Keith Lee. Turbo Floyd used to be my favorite wrestler
Oh,
too.
you,
So I know like they are they're a throwback to the '80s, so they're
mm-hmm.
nostalgic for me. They're
Yeah,
so I like them, but Keith Lee should get the win here, and I was happy to see Keith Lee get
yeah.
the win. I thought he looked good here in this win.
So Turbo Floyd is very entertaining. Would not mind him having appearance spots. Definitely no. But yes, we need to reheat up Keith Lee. So when y'all officially get us the meaty division, and I'm pretty sure the ROH championship might be the belt for it. I'm not gonna call it the meat title, but I'm pretty sure that's gonna be the title. Yeah, let get Keith Lee ready for that bad boy.
Yeah, yeah, and it's furthering this Shane Taylor Keith Lee storyline, right? So
Yes.
that's really, I guess, what this match is for, because Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty are watching this match backstage and talking about it. So,
Yeah.
and that's they're trying to heat up that feud. So I'm interested in that. So I'm here for that. Let's see.
Mhm.
Then we had Miro, uh, a video package of Miro, who's hot and flexible. Yeah, it's I don't know. What do you think of the Miro promo?
Like they did see CJ didn't even hire the boy yet. They were gonna have a
Yeah,
conversation. How you just gonna destroy people barely having a conversation? Now I love it. Again, it's gonna be a great story. I'm gonna be 100% invested. But can they at least sign? She asked you if you have any love for me. Don't hurt my clients. That reasonable people. That's a reasonable request. It is. But yeah, I love it. Oh, you're muted, AOW. Oh, I can't hear you.
oh, you can hear me now. Okay,
Yes, yes,
now
yes,
you can
yes.
hear me.
Yes,
All right. Sorry, there was a long glitch there for.
you're good.
Let's see. Then we had, which was the main event of this of Collision, which was Christian Cage versus Brian Danielson for the TNT title. You know, I knew Christian was going to win just because Brian. I don't think Danielson's going to hold the title before he retires at this point. I just don't think he's going to. I don't think that's. I just think he's
Mm,
going to go whatever. So I knew Christian was going to win here in my head. I wanted to see how it happened. I wanted to see how they were going to play that out.
yeah.
And um, I thought they did okay with it for the most part. Um,
Hmm.
They obviously took the interference of Ricky Starks hitting Danielson with the tag team belt, and everybody else kind of coming out, Wayne and Luchasaurus, all the Christian Cage, I guess, people for whatever it's worth, or the heels at the moment. So yeah, I mean, for
So
a crazy convoluted storyline, it's okay.
yeah, I do love. Woo-hoo, my dad's watching football. Focus right here. No, no, I do love Christian Cage being the main event, and he is doing justice. He is definitely doing justice with that belt and being in the main event. Very good match. That one hit to Ricky, it was like one felt motion. It's like, did you stop? It felt like he just launched to Danielson and just it just flat out on the floor. But like you said, the ending, a whole lot of
Yeah,
craziness come on. We finally saw FTR with Adam, which we knew was gonna happen. Glad it, let's start that back up because it feels like we're gonna put a pin in Christian versus Adam, which we should, because again, this is gonna be a slow burn. So yeah, let Adam and FTR get into a program. I wouldn't mind that at all. That'd be a good little not side gig, but yeah, detour before we go back to Christian versus Edge.
I agree. I agree. I thought this was a solid main event spot. Christian and Adam Copeland are definitely the two. That storyline is probably the biggest storyline in AEW at the moment, really,
Hmm.
other than MJF and Cole, which it's still funny, with the Roddy stuff, but I feel like it's cooled down a little bit because Cole's
Hmm.
injured and can only do so much. And they're still trying to keep it warm with these vignettes and Roddy and all that stuff, but almost become a little stale now. The vignettes with Roddy, just the last couple,
Yeah,
because it feels very, whatever. But yeah, this is definitely the biggest storyline I think in AEW at the moment. Christian versus Adam Copeland. So it's good,
yeah,
spot for them to have the main event, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
it
That was
was
the end of
good.
Collision.
Yes,
So that brings us to Dynamite from last night, which
yes.
was a good show, I thought overall. What did you think of last night's show before we actually break into it?
It was very good, and it feels like going into talking about storylines not having a direction. It feels like we're going into an actual direction on where everyone's going to be at for full gear and in the future, which I always love. It was a very good show, and it was in Texas, so the crowd was crazy.
I agree. Let's see. So we had Jay White versus Penta
Mhm.
um, in the opening match. Um, you know, Jay White wins another solid match. Penta, we know, can wrestle. So you beat Penta. That's a notch in your belt or a feather in your cap, whatever you want to call it. And Jay's building up wins.
Yeah.
Um, and they're moving closer to this MJ. They're moving more on this MJF feud. Jay White and MJF. So I'm here for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's fun. He probably should get the win here, but Penta's a really good wrestler, so he looked good getting the win, and it was a fun match.
No, no, this was so great. I love the spot where Jay's trying to chop Penta, and then he's like, "You had the suit on. That's why it's not working." He's like, "All right, fine, bet." And then he just ate. He
Right,
kept
took
ate,
his
and
shirt
like
off.
made zero difference. I'm like, yes. Like, okay, so
Yeah,
hindsight's 2020. I'll say it and I'll leave it. I'll release it from my body. I feel like this is what they should have done with Jay White when he first came, right? With Ricky, not enough people knew how much. Not, sorry, blah 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 blah. Not enough people knew about Jay White that it was going to elevate Ricky, right? So that feud just put them two right here. And I felt like, yeah, this is what you should have been doing. Where Jay White should have been getting wins over Penta and Hangman. So people actually know that he's a threat for people who didn't see New Japan, right? But you know what? He's here now. It is definitely working. Can't wait for MJF versus Jay White, the actual match. I do think it should be a conversation if MJF should win or lose. I know he's gonna win, but at least have a conversation about it. But yeah, bang bang, bang bang, gang, guns up. Very nice.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Jay White gave a promo after the match about how he's a real world champion and about how he's still waiting for MJF to accept his challenge. Justin talked about how he's going to win the diamond ring and pawn it again. And then MJF talks about how he hopes Juice wins tonight and the Mike Dirty Dozen Battle Royal, whatever it's called. Douchebag Battle Royal, I think is what he called it. Uh,
I don't know.
Maybe that's what Juice called it. One of them called it that. Um, yeah, so again, more just hyping up the MJF, ultimately MJF, Jay White match. Juice and MJF are going to be fun. In the meantime, we'll talk about that a little bit here. Yeah,
Yeah.
so then we had
So
Sheeta. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no. I was gonna say, I don't think Jay White's beating MJF. Do you think there's a chance that they're gonna let Juice Robinson beat MJF for the ring?
Who, he's had that ring for a really long time, and I think when it first came out, the ring was kind of a cool idea, and because he's had it
Yeah.
for 4 years, I think almost everyone's forgotten about it to a certain extent. Like he's got
Mm,
it, but it's like it's so. I think him having it for so long has taken away a lot of what was exciting about it in the first place. So I think putting it on somebody else, I think it's time to put it on somebody else. If that person's
yeah.
Juice, that's debatable with me, but that's who's the one that's in line to do it. As they're going to see as we come to the end of Dynamite here, we'll get to that. But so yeah, I mean, if he's the only real viable contender to do that, this is the only match they're going to have for that ring, then I think you should win.
Again, it should be a conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Then we had a world title elimination match between Sheeta and Emi Sakura.
Yeah.
Solid match. Lots of fun. Sheeta got the win. Um, I don't. Again, I don't like Emmy taking losses, but I guess if it's Tashida as the winner, as a women's champion, it's one thing. I thought she should have won here so that they could have had a title match.
Yeah.
I think they kind of, if she had won here, it's the title eliminator, so she wins here. That gives her a shot. They can kind of continue to hype that story up, um,
Hmm.
and they could have had a really good payoff match for the title, and still had she to win if that's what they want to do. Um, so I don't know. I was disappointed to see Emmy win here, but I understand, I guess, why they do it.
So Emmy has been doing the Lord's work. Every time, like her match with Statlander was bomb. Her match right here was great. I would love more Emmy on my TV, and here is my idea. TK, are you listening? Please listen. Again, I think Sheeta needs a faction, and I think that Emmy should be in there, and she should be her wise man because she used to be her teacher. So let her be her advisor on who she should be, how she should beat them, how she can be a long reigning a longest reigning women's champion. It is perfect. It sets up storylines very easily for you. So that's less work for you, TK. Make it happen. Put Emmy and Sheeta together. I'll add a third one in there, but just give me those two for now, and that'll be great.
Even if you don't put them together, just the fact that you have the whole teacher student, mentor, trainee, is a nice story that you can build off of. And it feels like they're kind of missing the ball. But Tony drops the ball on women's wrestling all the time, so
He does.
it is what it is. It's obviously not at the forefront of his mind. So you know,
Yeah.
let's see. Then we had Edge, or I'm sorry, Adam Copeland backstage with Renee Paquette, where you got to see the vulnerable side of Adam. He
Mhm.
doesn't understand what's going on with Christian. He doesn't understand. I mean, he gets it to a certain extent, but he's not
Mhm.
sure why his best friend of 40 years is acting like a jerk to him. And that the reason he came back was to have another Edge and Christian moment, um, and that he won't fight uh, Christian, but that he'll be there when Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus leave him eventually. So, what do you think of this?
Yeah. Very solid promo. Love the backstory of Edge and Christian. Adam and Jay. Love it very much. It makes sense, right? Even though he's
Sure.
been a douche, he hasn't done anything exact. Well, besides saying stupid stuff about his wife, 40 years is hard to erase over 2 weeks of bruh, what's wrong with you, right? So, not gonna say we're done, but we're gonna take a break. I'm not gonna mess with you. You're not gonna mess with me. And when stuff hits the fan, I'm gonna be your best friend. I'm gonna be here.
Yeah,
Very well done.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Then we had another Wardlow sighting and another Wardlow squash. This time, unfortunately,
Yeah.
of Ryan Nemeth. I'm still wondering if at some point Dolph's coming to AEW and we're gonna get the Nemeth brothers together. I hope for that. Um,
Mhm.
we'll have to see. In this position, Ryan Nemeth is the guy that should be squashed. He's a jobber. I get it.
Yeah.
He's even more believable as a guy that gets squashed here than like Matt Sydal was the week before or
Yeah.
the show before.
Most
Um,
definitely.
but but it is what it is. So yeah, Wardlow basically squashed him out and moved on.
So technically, Dolph has a 90-day complete compete clause, right?
Okay.
So I guess in their minds, we don't have to heat up Nemeth until that was that a month ago? They're letting people go, or 3 weeks?
Yeah, it was like the middle of September or so.
Yeah, so 3 weeks to a month. So they got 1 month not to ignore Ryan, and then after 60 days, like, all right, let's win something if we want Dolph to come over here. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely this is what Wardlow should be doing.
Yeah. Before Wardlow left the ring, Tony Schiavone came down and asked Wardlow what he's back for. And Wardlow raised his wrist tape, and the tape said MJF. So, as we knew, as I kind of figured, that's the natural direction. The best Wardlow was when he was, with MJF, and then
Hmm.
ultimately feuding with MJF after he turned on him, I guess, to a certain extent. Um, so yeah, I mean, MJF has a lot of coals on the fire at the moment, so I don't know where Wardlow fits in exactly, but that's what Wardlow should be doing in his comeback.
Yes.
That's a proper motivation for Wardlow.
So, the MJF and the double mask thing. Well, the whole double mask thing that we really didn't pick up quite, like, not really. This
Right.
could I heard on Russell Talk, and I do love the idea of everyone's coming after MJF, and the dude in the double mask is taking people out. So maybe a 6 month story of who done it, because he does have a whole lot of challengers, and then not sure who that person going to be, but that would be a nice way to tie everything in together. With
Yeah.
Wardlow, yes, the story definitely makes sense. It could be for revenge because it's like after that incident, if he stole my spotlight, I haven't been the same. Or it's just like, hey, he's a champion. Last time I was this high, I didn't go for the championship. Now it's straight up course. I ain't no pass go. I'm going for the world heavyweight title like I was supposed to do when I first broke off with MJF.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see Wardlow get sucked up again in MJF's kind of vortex, but at the same time, that's a natural. I think the natural storyline for him coming back is to get revenge on
Yes.
MJF. So,
Hmm.
let's see. Then we had Omega backstage hyping up his match with Kyle Fletcher. Um, and he teases that he's coming after the world title. That the Omega that we loved before is coming back.
Oh,
And so, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. Uh, MJF walks up to Omega and whispers in his ears, 13 days, bitch, which I guess is he will have held the belt longer than
yeah.
Omega in 13 days. So,
And it's
um,
like I'm mad. I'm mad because this is something you should have done a month ago. It's like, oh, this would have. Okay, use your words, Nika. Use your words. I know that Kenny doesn't like to be a center of attention, right? So he's like,
right.
let me be in 6 man tags and whatnot. But at some point in time, you are the best. So if I need someone to Joe Jackson his behind and say, hey, you are the best. We need you to get out here and wrestle and sing these songs. Okay? Now, this is why I'm mad, right? Because this would have been so perfect if they would have boasted this up a month ago, right? But it was like, he is Omega, right? So if you want to do Kenny versus MJF in 2 weeks, you can, and it will be fine. But if you would have pumped this up a month ago, it would have been great. But no, we're
Yeah.
not saying mediocre matches because we do want to hype up Takeshita, but okay, timeline wise, let Takeshita beat Omega at Wembley, right? And then Omega's like, you know what? I've been too worried about Don. I haven't got my stuff together. And then put a pin in it. And then not that's crazy to say. Reheat up singles Kenny for this moment. Because this moment should be bigger than what it's going to be. It's going to be, again, it's going to be fine. But if you would
Yeah.
have put more focus on it, it would have been huge.
I agree.
But it
I
is what
agree
it
with
is.
all of that.
Whatever.
Yeah. Then we had our next Roderick Strong appearance.
Yeah.
Next Strong to take on anyone. They're doing a parody of Headstrong, which is hysterical. Uh, they
That's
get
the thing.
Adam Cole to make them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I guess that's
Okay,
Adam
side
Cole's
note.
specialty. Okay.
This peanut butter that peanut butter look gross. I'm like, is this
It
mustard?
did.
I know it's organic, but I need y'all to put more brown
Listen,
nuts in it. I don't know.
listen,
It
listen,
didn't
listen,
look
listen.
good. Okay.
I don't know about you, but I don't really do food and sex like that. Like I don't equate them together. So like when you're like got a sexy song and the peanut butter on the knife and you're like sexily spread like that doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. Like
It
I'm
was
already
like
like I'm done with this. Like I'm cool. So yeah, I get it. And that peanut butter did not look very
I
appetizing at
don't know
all.
if it was like too that's weird to say. Too
Yeah.
organic. Hey, process that up. It didn't look good. I'm sorry.
So eventually Adam Cole gets mad and says, I haven't talked to MJF in, I don't know, 4 weeks or 5 weeks, and I got to get surgery. Storms off, and Strong keeps yelling at him basically as Adam takes off. It's kind of how all of them have ended. With him saying, "I'm going now to go get surgery," and then ultimately, I guess not yet. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I mean, they're starting to one or two more of these might start to overplay this a little bit. Um, this one wasn't stale, but I could see it starting to get a little stale. You're stretching on it now. He's making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like you're almost running out of things to kind of do.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up somehow. Let's come to a conclusion on this. Put a bow on this somehow. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how they do that, but they got to do
I
something soon.
I have an idea. I do love how it ended, where he was like, "I know how to get my best friend back. I gotta be friends with the scumbag."
Yeah,
So I think they're gonna do the idea that I think they should have done for, what was that? What was the last dream, Wrestle
Wrestle Dream,
Dream,
Wrestle Dream.
where I thought it was gonna be Roddy and MJF to go against the Righteous, but I think if you're gonna still have Roddy uh hurt, he still needs some guys for the 8-man tag to get the Triple B back. So we thought it was gonna be a claim. I wouldn't be mad if Adam Cole puts in a good word and it be the Kingdom and Roddy being his partners. That
Oh
could
yeah,
work too, and I'll be
that
all
could
for
work.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be here for that. Let's see. Then we had Don Callis in the ring with Takeshita and Hobbs.
Yeah.
Callis is hyping up Hobbs with his win over Jericho.
Yeah.
Hobbs recalled how this is what we talked about before, where he
Yeah.
met Jerry. He went to meet Jericho, but Jericho told his grandmother to shut. Didn't meet him, but I guess he had a chance to meet him. Jericho told his grandmother to shut up,
Yeah.
and Hobbs out to get revenge.
Very
And so
justified. You don't tell my grandma to shut up. I have to kill you now. And he did last week. It was
uh,
perfect.
I've talked a lot on all of these shows and all of our different shows about how for me, the fact that you have the title and I want it is enough of a storyline, and that you don't
Yeah.
always have to be, friends from a million years ago, slept with each other's wives, whatever the storyline is. So for here, we get that same kind of thing, which it feels almost like a reach again. Here we go. Hobbs was young and he got treated badly by Jericho. How many times have we heard this now in an
Yeah.
AEW feud? At the same time, it's all very believable, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
eh, you know, eh, I could see easily an MJF or a Hobbs getting snubbed by one of these guys, or a William Regal or a Chris Jericho, whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't think that's a far stretch. I, I I do think this is a little bit of an overplayed storyline, especially in AEW, but I'm here for it. It makes a little sense. At least it adds an explanation as to why Hobbs is so pissed at Chris Jericho.
Yes,
I'm still not
definitely.
totally sure that 20 years later, I'm still super irate about a shut up to my grandma. I mean, I get it, like that's a bad thing to do, and it's my grandma, but it's been 20 years. Like
So
a lot of time has passed. You've seen this guy since then, right? Like you guys were
let's
in the
be
company before a year and a half ago together too, right? Like so
but
why all of a sudden
I am
today, like
I am fully intended for 0 -1 to come back and beat MJL because 10 years ago he was mean to me during the freaking tribute concert to my daddy. So yes,
no,
you can
yeah,
hold
you're right.
a 10-year, 20-year crush. And I am
Long-term
all for
storytelling.
that.
Long-term storytelling.
Yes.
Uh,
Now I will
let's
say this.
see.
I will say this. Don't go back to Hobbs versus Jericho. Let it be a squash and end it there.
Yeah, let it be over there. Yeah, I agree. We don't
Yeah.
need to see any more of it.
Nope.
Kyle Fletcher came down to the ring as Callis continued to talk. And Kyle Fletcher basically says, I'm going to beat Omega. But he doesn't really he kind of acts like he's not going to be involved with Don Callis, but then afterwards during the match, Callis is at the announce table, and it sounds like
Very
Callis
wishy
still
washy.
thinks that Fletcher is really auditioning to be part of the Callis family. So I'm not totally sure. I mean, I don't think Kyle's totally sure on what he's going to do yet, but I
So
mean,
in my mind, I think that last week when he took what's his name, Guevara's place
yeah,
was be a one off. Guevara's hurt, he'll do it right. Now I'm
right,
not sure how hurt Guevara is. But I think probably someone said, "Hey, this doesn't have to be a one-off. This could be something we could do until Guevara comes back, and Fletcher doesn't have not yeah. This gives Fletcher direction. Let's again conversation. Let's see if this could work for us, and it really could because Osprey's already in the group, I guess officially. So why not have Kyle Fletcher now? And it is kind of hilarious how Don is very much wishy washy. He was all for this until Osprey won. He's like, oh, this kid don't know crap. And so if you
Yeah,
do this one or two more times, it will still be entertaining. So yeah, you can do it. You can have this be a nice little story.
yeah. So that led into Omega versus Fletcher, which was a really solid match.
So good.
You know, I can't remember. I say this about Will Ospreay all the time, but I'm going to say it about Kenny Omega. I can't really remember the last bad Kenny Omega match I saw.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the dude just doesn't really have bad matches. And Kyle Fletcher's a really good wrestler too. So these two together in the ring, it's gonna be good. And they didn't give it, it wasn't a big long 30-minute whatever, but the 11 or 12 minutes that it was, I thought was very exciting. I thought Kenny looked good. Kenny got the win. It warmed him up again because if you haven't, Omega's hasn't really had a singles match in a while. It feels like,
yeah,
um, and
yeah,
so and Kyle Fletcher's had some good singles wins. So I thought this is a good win, and you're right. Don Callis is fickle. Right before the match, he's like, Kyle Fletcher's great. I want him as part of the Callis family. He's gonna beat Kenny Omega, and then when Kenny Omega wins, oh, Kyle Fletcher's a piece of trash, and he's not good enough for the Callis family. So, yeah, I mean, that's why Don's a great heel. So,
yes.
um, but yeah, I
So
mean, I enjoyed it. Kenny should get the win. Yeah, and he did.
you know, this is definitely very good. Don't again very crazy to say remind people how good Omega is, but it's been very long since his singles match on television, right?
Yeah,
Those knees to like, gosh dang it, we know it's been a minute, but you don't have to murder the boy like that. It just
yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kenny has the best knee strikes in all of wrestling. I mean, I don't know what he does to make them sound so good, but man,
right,
they
like
just
it's like
just the impact sound is just brutal. Yeah, just oh man.
it's that and the swerve kick. Let me ever be a
Yeah, this
wrestler,
yeah,
I'm ducking. Anika,
no
what?
doubt.
I already
Yeah,
told you I'm not taking that. I don't know why you putting your knee close to my face.
right. So Kenny got the win. Then we had a vignette teasing Danhausen's return.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have anything to say about Danhausen coming back. I don't. I don't.
it's cute.
It's
He was
cute.
it. Don't really know why he left. Right? It was like in the dark,
Yeah.
so it's nice.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I mean, I'm not a Danhausen fan, so I don't really care one way or the other. But then we had Lance Archer drag out his opponent, who I guess was Barrett
Right?
Brown, and squash him in the ring for a win. I guess it's good to see Lance Archer back. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what this was supposed to do other than to show us what a badass Lance Archer is.
Like it really is a hometown pop. Every time we're in Texas, bring out Lynch Archer. That was it.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we had Prince Nana hyping up the premiere of Swerve Strickland's music video. Swerve is still mad at Hangman Page because he cost him the chance to be the TNT champion. Um, and that Hangman doesn't really want to go to war with Swerve, so think twice about it. Whatever, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I you know, it's okay. I mean, I like Prince Nana. I like Swerve. I thought this was a decent promo. Um,
I think we all thought that after Wrestle Dream, I don't think we thought that the second match was gonna be at full gear. That's what it feels like they're gonna do, right? Like,
right.
okay,
Yeah.
fine. They're gonna wait a little bit longer, but that's cool.
Yeah.
A key point he said, remember that it's not specifically you who gets the punishment for what I'm about to do. So it's like it probably is the young bucks. Be like, can we choose someone else?
Yeah.
It's always the young bucks. They should be used to it.
It is always the Young Bucks. Yeah. No, I mean, we should do something different. Then we got to the big news of the night, as far as I'm concerned. Even though he's not really my guy, he's a lot of people's guys, and a lot of people have loved him. But Sting announced his retirement, and he announced that this is actually his going to be his official official final retirement. He even made a little comment at the end about one thing you can say about Sting or know about Sting or whatever is that this is the end for sure, or something like that. Because he had said never say never before, last time he retired. So, what you probably got some stuff to say about Sting. What you got to say?
First things first. I'm gonna need y'all to coordinate y'all retirements, okay? Yeah, you just hit me with Danielson talking about next year he's retiring. Now Steve retired. I need y'all. I need one of y'all to last 6 more months, and then the next one can retire. That's number one. Number two, I was with him when he said that the first, the WWE retirement did not sit. It didn't sit right with a whole lot of us, right? Because that match against Steph, that Stuart Buckle bomb, and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
we call it. I blame Ric Flair and HBK, right? Because they have written the storybook ending of careers. And so in our minds, if you're on that level, everyone should have that kind of ending. So when this thing got hurt and it was just a Hall of Fame, it's like that can't be the last one, right? And so he comes back 2020. Oh my gosh. And he's actually wrestling decent matches that are entertaining. And so, in all fairness, I do know that this wasn't going to be like another year. He already said that the ending is coming, but putting an actual date on it is like, okay. But again, it's good because Revolution next year, that's in March. So we have November, December, January. We have 5 months. And so you can best believe if he's ever in Florida, I'm gonna try my best to see Sting before he retires. That is the gift of announcing it early.
who do you think gets the honor of being his final match at Revolution?
It should be like, okay, it should be Darby. I
It
know
should be. I don't know how we get there
it
from
should
here,
be
but it should be
Darby, right?
Darby. It should be.
Now I love, and hopefully people are listening, right? Because the whole Adam was mad at Christian for almost concertoing Sting. 'Cause that's his that used to be his childhood idol. If
Right.
you want to have Sting versus this is my roadmap. If you want to have Sting versus Christian and actually have Sting beat Christian for the TNT belt, and WCW was on TNT, so that's a nice little backstory of his first iteration of his career, and then put the belt in the line against Darby and let Darby beat Sting for the belt. I think that's a very nice roadmap into covering most of the bases of his career and pushing the next generation on. And we know that Darby loves the belt because like Darby is like not and it with a lot of TNT champions to compare to, but he's definitely top three. As of right now,
Yeah.
Darby's title run was top three. So that would
Sure.
be a very nice little ABC ending to Sting's match, to Sting's career. I would love that. Would be great if they would do it like that.
I can see that. I mean, I'm here for that. I do think it should be Darby. I'm not sure. I like your way of getting from here to there because I don't totally know how you do it because they're so
Yeah,
they're friends and partners. So I don't know why they would be wrestling, but I get it now.
it's spirit of
Sting
company.
has the belt, wants Darby to be his last match, and Darby
Yeah,
wins, and the torch gets kind of passed that way. So I could
yeah.
see that. I guess the question is, do you think Darby Allin's a big enough name for Sting's final match?
So this is what I was laughing at, right? Because let's go to Sting's era. Everybody,
Yeah.
nobody should. Everybody, everybody. No,
No, it's there's
nobody wants to
nobody.
see
You
that.
shouldn't bring anybody in to do it. That's for sure. There's nobody you should bring
Nobody
in.
wants to see that.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no. So that's
like,
why no, I agree. Darby makes sense. I mean, I think
yeah,
that's been his biggest, closest associate since he's been in AEW, and
right.
it makes sense at this point. So
Yeah.
then we got the moment that I was most mad about of the whole show. They have pure gold in Tony Storm right now. And they fucking go to picture in picture and then commercial during her whole segment. I was so fucking irritated. Like, this is probably your second best character storyline going on TV right now. And you put it on with fucking picture in picture in a commercial. By the time it came back from commercial, it was fucking over. I was so irritated.
So I guess there's 2 points, right? Last week she was doing a silent film version of this, and the people across the pond didn't like it because it wasn't picture in picture for them, right? It was a full
Oh,
because they don't have commercials. They're like,
okay.
this made no sense. It was an actual show. So like, I guess for this week they're like, okay, for the people across the pond, let's do an actual fully film, but it's supposed to be for picture in picture. So it's kind of hard to do that balance of making it better so that the people across the pond will get somewhat of a decent se- segment. There you go, segment, but it's picture in picture, so we can't. How much effort are we going to put into it, right? So,
Right.
I guess not best case scenario, and case scenario, they put the whole segment on YouTube for people to see full out without
Yeah.
the commercials. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, she's everything. She's brilliant at the moment. That character is amazing. So,
like
um,
definitely on Collision, I can see them doing the whole segment, not in picture, but an actual segment. Yeah.
yeah. Then we got the interview that I talked about earlier that I forgot was on this Dynamite, where Nick Wayne and his mom sat down with Jim Ross, and his mom started kind of blasting him a little bit for not for she doesn't understand who this Nick is, why you turned on Darby. Darby was, your close friend for whatever, and for Christian, all the things he said about your dad, all the things he said about me, and Nick Wayne basically said, I need to get out of people's shadows. I've been in people's shadows forever. Needless to say, you're now walking into Christian Cage's shadow. But let's leave that alone. Like, we won't mention that here,
Yeah.
right? Don't mention the elephant in the
Right.
room. But I thought Nick Wayne. I thought this was good. I thought Nick Wayne was a little over dramatic. He needs a little bit more time still on the mic to get, in the sweet spot. I thought his mom did a good job. I thought his mom came
Yeah.
off as pretty believable. Um, for the most part, I thought it was a decent segment.
So I guess and a lot of people have justified the argument for this segment was it was okay, but the dialogue could have been more realistic. Because
Yeah.
like with I love you said I love his mom because it's like this dude been DMing me and sending me dumb behind freaking
Yeah.
messages. Why are you pairing with him? His retort really could have easily been because I almost died because Yarnell trying to kill me. Cause no, not him. Cause when Swerve Darnell trying to kill me in my freaking training gym, Darby just forgave old boy, and I can't be down with that. He really could have just said that, but then he
Right.
went down this road. So like the whole road of being in someone's shadow is like, all right, but you really could have just let with. I didn't like that he forgave the dude that almost killed me. You really could have just went there, but I
Yeah, and
guess
it
for
doesn't. It,
yeah,
it seems a little kind of like I was saying, like you want to be out of people, but you're not going to be out of somebody's shadow because now you're going to be under Luchasaurus and Christian's shadow, right? Like,
yeah.
so it's not like you're stepping out on your own. So yeah, I mean, I understand what he's saying, and at the same time, it doesn't really hold a whole lot of water. So,
I,
and he needs a little bit more work on the mic for sure.
yeah.
His
Oh,
acting needs a little bit
definitely.
more work.
I
But
guess
he's only 18, right? So I mean,
that part. It's very crazy to think these people are still young. Like Cal Fletcher's only 24. Like
I
y'all
know.
have 10 more years ahead of y'all before y'all get to the freaking prime of your careers.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But I
Let's see.
guess
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I guess this script bore it leans more towards Christian as a father figure. So I guess that's kind of why they kind of put that stuff in there. But you could have let yeah, you could have you didn't. It's another way of getting towards that, I guess.
I mean, I liked seeing her slap him. I thought that was okay.
Like,
Um,
I'm sorry. Like you're like, hey, no, I ain't sorry. Call me a turbo mom. You better be glad I didn't knee you in your freaking balls. I'm not a mother, so I can
yeah.
say that.
Let's see. Backstage, Chris
Oh,
Statlander wants to defend her title. Oh, go ahead.
real quick. I do love Christian was great
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
he should have answered the phone. I'm like,
right.
get this man. This is too much. Get this.
Christian is brilliant at the moment.
He really is.
He's in his bag and he's killing it. I mean, yeah.
Yes. a
Yeah,
hundred percent.
everything he's doing right now is perfect. I mean, he's probably other than MJF, he's probably the best heel in AEW at the moment.
Yes.
And it's debatable right now where you see MJF, right? Because he's kind of turned to a
He
baby face, but he's a heel baby face. Like it's this
yes.
weird
It
baby face, but I'm the devil at the same time. Like,
com- like the comparison was Stone Cold, right?
yeah,
We really don't know when he turned, but it was basically
yeah,
like I'm still gonna be me, but I'm just gonna not piss off the fans. That's really
yeah,
I'm gonna piss everybody off, but not y'all.
yeah, yeah. It's very similar to that.
Yes,
So Chris Statlander wants to defend her title against Willow. I'm. Uh, do they schedule it for next week? I don't remember if they actually scheduled it for next week or not.
I didn't even
But
catch it.
and then basically it leads into the main event, which was the Dynamite Diamond Battle Ring Royal. Battle Royal. I I felt like they kind of um, foreshadowed a little too much that Juice was going to win here because of just all the buildup that's been going on with Juice and MJF in the few episodes, both Rampage, I believe, and Dynamite prior to this, and I think even
I could
Title
definitely
Tuesday,
see that. Yeah.
where it was like, they were talking about, well, if MJF kept saying, if Juice wins, I hope Juice doesn't win because I'm going to have to beat him up. Well, now we know Juice is going to win. Like, come on. So, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. Um, I didn't necessarily think that Dustin Rhodes was going to get as far as he did. That was kind of interesting to see. And that
Like
Max was one of the
yeah.
last people in the ring. I thought was really cool. So,
Like well, the Dustin thing that was Texas hometown pop. So give him a little bit of a spotlight because that's our hometown boy. So
right.
I'm all for that. I'm definitely all for MJF trying to bribe him into doing shattered what's called shattered dreams
Shattered
on
Dreams.
Juice.
Right. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. 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 I like seeing Matt Menard anytime, they wrestled. I like him. Commander's always fun. Trent, they had a lot of good guys in this match, and it was fun. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with Juice winning. I just think it was a little predictable based upon kind of where the story's been going with Jay White and MJF and Juice. So
I definitely don't disagree with you. I would say just to like you said to give a little bit of doubt, shine put give someone else not storyline, but a reason to be a contender, right? And I'm not
yeah,
sure they tried. Like, I think they did it like last minute. They're like, oh wait, maybe not just Juice could win. Let's say Matt Caster can be a winner, and it's like so he's already doing segments with MJF. That'll work. Like, no, you should have done this 2 weeks ago with Juice, right? So
right, yeah.
yeah,
I
totally
mean,
agree with you.
even though like I like a lot of the guys that are in this, most of them are not going to win, right? Like
Yeah,
even though I was happy to see Dustin there, Dustin's not winning. Jeff
Justin's
Hardy's
trying.
not winning. Jake Hager's not winning. Commander's not winning. Matt Hardy's not winning. Matt Menard's not winning. Matt Seidel's not winning. I
Trying.
mean, there was really only a few guys in there that really viably I thought had a chance to win. I
Yeah,
thought Daniel Garcia had a chance to win. I thought
yeah.
Trent Beretta had a chance to win. And Juice Robinson, I didn't even think Max was going to get as far as he did. I was very happy to see Max in there at the very end. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a little predictable, but it was still fun. And so Juice won, and so we'll get Juice and MJF.
And we'll see if they keep the ring on MJF or give it a Juice.
Give
I'm
it to Juice.
kind of hoping they
I
give
I
it a
say give it
Juice.
to Juice. I say give
Yeah,
it to Juice. But
yeah,
I don't think MJF needs it anymore. He's got the
yeah.
title now, even though he doesn't really have the title. He has the title. Well, he has it back now. I guess
He's
he got it
champion.
back.
Yes.
But he's champion, so he doesn't need the diamond ring anymore. And let it, putting it on somebody else, I think, heats it back up again for what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the end of Dynamite from this week and the end of our show.
Yeah.
As usual, thanks for tuning in. for Aftermath of Dynamite. Anything else you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
This was
Oh, I
great.
guess I could play our workhorse commercial real quick.
Yes.
All right, let's play the commercial.
Hey everybody, this is the Workhouse Wrestling Network schedule for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, Mondays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, you have entered the square circle at 11 a.m. Let me tell you, Sammy and ALW, they battling it out to see who will be the Enter the Square Circle champion. Listen, you can't miss an episode. It is riveting. Okay? So just a little secret. Tune in 11 a.m. on Monday. Tuesday, it's Seeing Stars, 10:30 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. But ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm about to break your heart. We're taking a break because your girl needs some rest, okay? But when we come back, it's going to be fire because we're going to be seeing these stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling and GCW and Stardom. You ain't going to want to miss that either. But then the real party starts at 10:30 at night on Tuesday on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at the Cookout, where they play fire games and talk hot topics and have a good time. You're going to have to pull you up a seat because we're going to feed you real good. Ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesdays, all 4 night at 11:30 p.m., that's where you're going to find the WWE meet, okay? It is going to be Raw and NXT with Sammy and ALW, and they preview WWE pay-per-views. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, Thursday is live aftermath of Dynamite at 10:15 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Listen, we talk all things AEW, Rampage, Collision, the Dynamite from the day before. We preview shows coming up. We preview pay-per-views coming up. That is your one-stop shop for AEW. If you want to find out what happened, tune in at 10:15. Then on Friday, that's when the party starts for the weekend. Friday Night Fights at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Starting off at 8 p.m. with WWE SmackDown. And you're going to get the SmackDown from Anika and Sammy, I tell you. But then our parents, one of the parents, CM and ALW, going to come in and they just going to rampage everywhere. So you got to see it, okay? But then you wake up Saturday morning, and you know what you're gonna get? Under the radar with CM and ALW. And you know what you're gonna find? BTE, Impact, ROH, all these great things on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at 11 a.m. Okay? If you missed out on the week, they'll catch you up. And it ain't gonna take forever either. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday night, it's Saturday Night is All Right at 8 p.m. where we watch AEW Collision. Ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be great. We have a great time. That's generally when we all come back together again and have a good time on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday's supposed to be our day off. But you know, if it's a pay-per-view, it's a Workhouse Wrestling Network. So make sure you tune in. If there's a pay-per-view on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will be there. Ladies and gentlemen, you see this icon, YouTube audio, you can listen to us live, play hot games, talk hot topics. Just be great, okay? Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you see this icon on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, click it the next day and you can listen all to the party we had the day before. Ladies and gentlemen, also, last but not least, if you see this on YouTube audio, click it, okay? Because you know what you're going to get? You get to listen to us watch along live to pay-per-views and shows and have a good time, okay? Because we dropping gems. You got Sammy with the food, CM with the knowledge, Anika with the good hard movies and work, and you got ALW, who he just drops old school wisdom, okay? So make sure you join us. Until then, I want to let you know, peace.
right. So that's our Workhorse Wrestling Network commercial. Thanks to Dolores.
Mhm.
And so we will see you guys tomorrow night on Friday Night Fights, or at minimum, at least next week on Aftermath of Dynamite. Until then, peace.
Bye.